Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Chppin It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Well, let's get started. Well, what a night it was in college basketball, as there was four games of Division I basketball last night, and that was pretty exciting. Let's get right to it. First of all, you had Louisville going up against Syracuse up in the Carrier Dome. Syracuse, unfortunately, isn't ranked this year, and they was going up against at the time, it was the number 4 team in the country, but it later came out that Louisville became the number 8 team in the country. And Syracuse nearly pulled off the upset. Louisville had to avoid the upset by winning in overtime. But I want to tell you something about the Syracuse team. They got a couple of young players out there. They're led by their 5-year senior that was a transfer by the name of Andrew White III. But for the most part, it's a young team. If they can keep that group together, allow them to grow for at least a season or two, Syracuse could have a future. But right now, they're a little bit limited. I was watching them against Louisville. If only they could rebound the ball, they may have had a chance to pull off an upset. But they just couldn't seem to secure a rebound when it was necessary. And Louisville, led by Mitchell, who actually fouled out, pulls away with the win and avoids the upset in overtime as Louisville wins the game 76-72. But again, very, very good performance. It's just that Syracuse, young and small, could not secure a rebound when it counted. Now, Louisville is well coached. They seem to have a couple of players here, but more importantly, they had a lot of length, a lot of size. And with that said, I look for them to be a formidable opponent going into the tournament. But if they don't make free throws, it could be an early out for them. Louisville missed about 10 free throws or more in this contest. But the better team found a way to win and get it done. Speaking of better team, the number 2 team in the country, Villanova, they cruised past Depaul. They were led by Jalen Brunson, the son of Rick Brunson, former NBA player with the New York Knicks, Chicago Bulls. He played on several teams, actually. But they were led by him. He led a balanced attack. I believe it was 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. And then you had Josh Hart, his backcourt mate, at 16 points. I like Villanova. Like I said, defending champion. They returned their team. It could be a good look for these guys. A very good look going into the tournament. I think Villanova is a team to watch out for. But yes, they cruised past DePaul. Baylor, the number 4 team in the country, I believe it was, they were upset by Texas Tech. You know, I talked yesterday about some of the premier programs such as the Kentuckys, the Dukes, the North Carolina, UCLA, some of those guys. I don't think it's going to be one of them that wins the tournament. I think it's going to be a mid-major or either one of those teams from the stronger conferences that usually don't win, like a Florida State. You know, someone, not the bottom feeders, but someone who doesn't have a history of winning. And with that being said, Baylor destroys my argument by losing to an unranked team in Texas Tech. Coming in number 4. But, you know, sometimes there's games like that. Hopefully they can regroup, make a run in the tournament, and be ready for the big dance come March. But, yes, Baylor falls to Texas Tech. Unless they win another game this week, chances are they're going to drop considerably in the top 10 come next week, Monday. And then it was Kansas. Kansas and West Virginia. West Virginia somehow let this game slip away. Kansas being the number 3 team in the country, they pulled away with the win. But somehow or another, West Virginia, they just let this one slip away. And, you know, I was doing some history on West Virginia because West Virginia's had some pretty decent programs underneath Bob Huggins, former coach of Cincinnati. And the one thing I was looking at is that in their history, in West Virginia's history, they've only sent 14 players to the NBA. 14 players. Now, one you know very well. He's a Hall of Famer. He's actually the logo, and that's Jerry West. 2 is Rod Thorne. Rod Thorne. I believe he's bounced around the league as vice president. He's had numerous jobs. I think he's currently working with Philadelphia right now, and I might be wrong with that, but Rod Thorne. Then a good friend of my son's, who we grew up with, Devin Ebanks. He played 2-3 years with the Lakers, but never really had a serious run. D'Antoni, in my estimation, didn't utilize him right. And then there was Kevin Jones that I remember. But prior to that, I think I remember Joe Alexander. But it was surprising to just hear that only 14 players have gone on to the NBA. I think in the last 3-4 years, Kansas has probably sent 14 players to the NBA. And unfortunately for West Virginia, although they came in at number 9, they were playing the number 3 team that featured probably future NBA players as well on the Kansas Jayhawks. But I want to talk a little bit about Kansas. I mean, they were led by Frank Mason III, and they got a freshman phenom. I think his name is Josh Jackson. Josh Jackson fits the bill and the structure of some of the last players to come out of Kansas and enter the league, outside of Joel Embiid. But I'm going to go on record and say that the players that play for Kansas are leaving too soon to school and going into the NBA. This one-and-done program is not conducive for these players. And let me tell you why. I look at somebody like Andrew Wiggins, who comes from Kansas. A lot of talent, but not quite there. They talk about his work habits, it's not quite there. You know, college is not just to learn your game or grow your game, but it's also to grow as an individual, grow as a man, become mature. You know, and I think when these young players go to school for the 1 year, not because they want to, but because they're made to go to school or forced to go to school because they can't enter the league. First of all, I don't think they take it serious enough, and I don't know if they utilize college to its full potential. They'll realize later, once they get into the NBA, that the teachers of the game are in college. There are very little teachers on that pro level. And guys like Andrew Wiggins, who's had some great games and belongs in this league, could have benefited from 1 more year. I look at Brian McLemore. He came out and there was comparisons to Ray Allen. He has not lived up to his hype. Kelly Oubre Jr., that's with Washington right now, he's stuck behind Otto Porter. There's a chance that he may never live up to his hype. He had the Rudy Gay comparisons. And now you have Josh Jackson, that is a surefire NBA lottery pick. But will he leave too soon? This guy, I watched him last night. He has all the talent in the world. He looks like a high flyer. He looks very athletic. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Corey Maggette. But will he leave too soon? It's just some questions and some thoughts. But nevertheless, this Kansas team is loaded. It was led by Frank Mason III last night. And it appears that they're probably a favorite to get into that Final Four spot, depending on the seeding, of course. But I can't see them being avoided from the Final Four. Yeah, like I said, this team features a lot of future NBA players. And it does. It features a lot of NBA players. So I look for them to make a deep run in March towards that national title game. But with those 4 games, it was a very exciting game in college basketball. It's a very exciting night for college basketball. It really was. So we're going to move along as we do keep an eye on it. But I'll be remiss if I don't mention the women of UConn. What an incredible run that this team is on. They just won last night. They won, beating number 6 South Carolina. Their 100th consecutive victory. Their 100th consecutive game they won. Outstanding. You know, whenever we talk about great coaches, whether it's pros or in college levels, it seems that the coach of UConn, and I have a problem pronouncing his name, but I'll just go with Gino. He doesn't get mentioned. Let me tell you this. In the NBA, if you have a team that's doing well, the core usually stays there for several years. In college, you got a new team every 2-3 years. And in the case of John Calipari, he has a new team every year. Women's basketball is a little bit different because they don't have one and dones. But you're going to have the same team for about 3 years. What he's done with women in his school at the University of UConn is just phenomenal. Now, granted, he gets some of the best. I mean, he's the John Calipari of the women's ranks, yes. But what he does with them, to get them to buy in, you got to remember, you got stars on the bench that's just waiting for their turn. What he does to get these women to buy in, work together, keeping egos out of the way, it's just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. 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 I don't know if he has the same success with men. I don't know if he has the same success on the next level. But what he's doing at where he's at, it's just phenomenal. He's like the John Wooden, the modern day John Wooden in the women's rank. It's just phenomenal what Gino is doing. As simple as that. They're probably destined to win another national title. No doubt about it. They have the number 1 pick in the draft for the WNBA. Just phenomenal. Phenomenal. We're going to move along to the NBA. Last night, there was a lot of games. I'm not going to touch bases on them all, but there was one clear upset as Klay Thompson and the backup point guard, I can't think of his name right now, Livingston. I believe neither one of them played as a result of it. They took an L to Denver on the road as Denver actually blew them out. Curry was held to like 14 points. I guess it's one of those games. You know, with Golden State, you're not going to be too alarmed. It's just one of those games. They'll bounce back. You know, when you have a game like that, you take the L early somewhat and just hope nobody gets hurt, and you just come back another day. I mean, there's no concerns over there at Golden State. Trust me when I say that. There is no concerns in Golden State. But they did take an L on the road to Denver. Last night, OKC, Russell Westbrook goes into D.C. and he goes up against his former coach who he respects. And they were no match for Washington. As Washington is steadily improving and becoming a force in the Eastern Conference as they're third in the division, in the conference, I should say. And questions around the league are, will they be active at the trade deadline or will they stand pat? But finally, they've gotten it together and they're just playing some outstanding ball. I look for them to not necessarily be a threat, but just be a challenge. I look for them to be a challenge. So it should be interesting there. It should be very interesting there going down the stretch. Atlanta on the road last night, they beat up on Portland. So that's a good win for them, a good road win for them, I should say. And it's a win that they needed, you know. And so a good win for them. And as I mentioned, with Washington winning and then steadily improving in the Eastern Conference, at the third spot, looking up at Boston Celtics. Oh, the Celtics go on the road and they just beat up on Dallas. Again, led by Isaiah Thomas, who had 29 points. You know, I listen to a lot of talk radio when it comes down to basketball. And they make it seem like Isaiah Thomas, yeah, he's a top 5 MVP candidate. But they make it seem like he's distanced from James Harden and Russell Westbrook. I don't see that. I really don't see how you can say he is distant. You know, before the season started, they were saying that, or I should say earlier in the season, They were saying that for Westbrook to have a shot at MVP, his team has got to finish in the top 4. So, okay. Regardless to if he has a triple-double, averages a triple-double, his team's got to finish in the top 4. Okay. Well, Isaiah's team is number 2 behind Cleveland in the East. He's the number 1 scorer in the fourth quarter. Therefore, he's the game's best closer this season. Period. He's the game's best closer this season. Why is he a distant third? He should be right there with those guys. Right there. I tell you what, you take Russell Westbrook off of OKC, they're a lottery team. Don't get me wrong. You take Harden off of Houston, they're probably a lottery team too. You take Isaiah off of Boston, they're clearly a lottery team. And he's doing it without with the absence of Avery Bradley, and now Jay Crowder, has missed several games. I mean, they're well coached, don't get me wrong, but Isaiah Thomas is definitely the guy that moves the needle on that team. He continues to impress. He continues to play well. Just excellent player. To me, right now, he's not a distant third in MVP voting. I think he's right there. And any slip up between James Harden or Westbrook, they can be in some trouble. And I want you guys to remember this. The year that Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double, the year that it was the same year that Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50 points a game. Now, Westbrook could be this year's Oscar Robertson, and Harden could be this year's Wilt Chamberlain, who averaged 50 points a game and 20-plus rebounds a game that year. And Harden has a chance to lead the league in scoring as well as lead the league in assists. The person who won MVP was Bill Russell, a Boston Celtic. Well, I bring that up because Isaiah Thomas is a Boston Celtic. He's second in scoring. He's this season's best closer as he leads all players in scoring in the fourth quarter at 11 a game. It will not surprise me if this guy goes ahead and makes himself a valid MVP candidate and maybe even take the win, especially if Houston and OKC both fail to be fourth seed or better. Fourth seed or higher, I should say. So it's just something to think about. So as we move on, I wasn't going to talk about any Knick talk. They didn't play last night. But I do have to mention that James Dolan was urged to sit down and talk with Oakley. And in fact, conversation took place that involved the Commissioner Adam Silverman and also Michael Jordan, Charles Oakley's best friend, a very, 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 very good friend. And as a result of it, it looks like for the time being, differences may have been ironed out and hashed out, and look for a possible return to the Garden by Charles Oakley in the very near future. I believe I read a report where he says it's going to take a couple of weeks to let it settle down, and rightfully so. You got the All-Star weekend coming up. There's not going to be any major games going on for about a week or so. So I guess it'll take 2 weeks. I think Oakley felt like James Dolan tried to destroy his character by talking about him being an alcoholic and needing help for alcoholism, when in fact he's on records stating that he helps individuals in that category. And matter of fact, former net player Jason Williams, who have experienced and battled some issues with alcohol, came out and says that James Dolan was definitely off basis by making that report because, at one, Charles does not suffer with any problems like that, and two, he's been instrumental in helping him deal with the issue. So that was good to see that someone spoke up like that because, in fact, A lot of former players and current players stood by Oakley and support. So that's good to see that. And then last but not least, the Giants, they start early, and that's the New York Giants. They have started early with their cleaning house. Yesterday reports came down that they released Victor Cruz and their running back Jennings. It looks like the Giants might be heading into a new direction. It could have been a financial situation. They freed up $10 million in cap space. Who knows? Maybe Victor comes back at a cheaper deal. But Victor is definitely a solid player, and he could be used on a lot of teams. I don't think he'll be without a job too long. I wouldn't be surprised if he winds up with Philadelphia or Dallas. I tell you what, Philadelphia can use him. A healthy Cruz is better than anything that Philadelphia has to offer right now, and also a healthy Cruz is better than Terrence Williams in Dallas. I tell you that. So let's see what happens. I don't think he'll surface with the Jets, although that's been a topic of discussion among some people that follows the show and was chiming in last night. I wouldn't mind seeing him with the Jets as a Jet fan, but I think that the Jets, once Decker comes back healthy, and if they retain the services of Brandon Marshall, Quincy Anua, he asserted himself last year, established himself. I think he's a keeper. I'm not sure if the Jets really need Victor Cruz, but a player like Victor Cruz, if he comes by with a decent price tag, why not take a chance with him? When healthy, he's one of the best, one of the top 15 receivers probably in the league when healthy. He's definitely a person who can hold on to the ball and catch the ball and could make a difference on anybody's team. So look for him to be on the move. And as I said, probably Philadelphia, Dallas, I figure it'd be his top two choices. But that's going to do it for the show. We're getting closer to spring training for the Major League Baseball. It's hard to get into baseball until after the finals, but we'll report on that as well. So until then, until tomorrow, I should say, you guys take it easy. I'll see you soon. This is Chppin It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the notes. Straight from the throat, I'm sorry. Peace and blessing. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you in 24 hours. Straight from the throat. Chop.